I care for you more than my own self. Darling, I share with you. All right. It is 6:32. Listen to a little Bob Marley radio, getting my act together, drinking my iced coffee, looking at the charts. It is July 1st. It is a new month. It is a new quarter. We all start at zero. That means you got to do it all over again. So if you got to do it all over again, you better like what you do, like how you do it. They say, or Red Dog says, you have to love your routine because you got to do it every day. So anyway, hopefully everyone had a great first half of the year. If you didn't, figure out why. If you did, congratulations. Don't loosen up. Don't get overextended and give back money for any reason. And we'll figure out what the new narratives are, where things go, and how to continue to make the right decision at the right time. If you control what you can control, you can handle what you can't control. Anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com, founder of the Red Dog Mindset, and I've been doing the 630 Club with you guys since 2020, trying to give out a little bit of good information to the world, hopefully to help everyone navigate their mindset or their time frame, whatever it is that they do. So good morning, everybody. So here we are. A lot of people are like, Red Dog, I can't believe the move we've had off the lows. It's been crazy. It's so stupid. I'm like, what's stupid about it? Everyone has an opinion of the action. Bottom line is you can't control the action. You just have to figure out how to participate with the action. What time frame are you looking at? That's why on the weekends I always show you guys my 7 different time frames. 7, because not everyone could day trade. Not everyone could swing trade. Not everyone has a 401k. Not everyone has a blood in the street account. Not everyone knows options. Not everyone has a kid for a 529. But I have all these things that I've developed over 30 years because I'm an old bastard. No, I'm kidding. I've been doing it for a long time. So I just try and help you guys get ahead of your learning curve. But if you're going to trade actively for a living and you get paid, for June or for the second quarter, you better be able to time things. You better know your moving averages. You better have a tier system. You better have all these things that help you, move forward and keep your feet moving. And if you just take a quick little look back, how did this happen? Remember this day right here? Just a quick anatomy of the trade right here. This is when the active sequence, started somewhat. But really what confirmed it is the no bounce back below the moving averages. And then from here all the way down to March, you had a little snap back into a trend line, and then boom. And then all of a sudden you had your low, your higher low, your W bottom with the higher low. That is actively bullish. And then really you had a gap up that didn't fill the gap, which showed energy. And then right from here, we've been in an active sequence to the upside. So the question is, how long do active sequences last? Sometimes they last a week, sometimes 3 weeks, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months. That's why you measure it. And within the active sequences, different flavors, different groups, different stocks, different setups, all across the board. So now as we enter July, which is the third quarter, sometimes you get new flows, sometimes you don't. Sometimes people who wanted to have stocks on the books because they were so strong and they want to look good to their fund, then take some profits and say, hey, let me see what's going to happen moving forward. So we'll see what happens today. Do profit takers, are they stronger than the new flows that start for July or for, the third quarter? As of right now, not a big deal. SPYs are down $1.16. Woo! So, at this point, if you have a few hedges on, okay, I have some hedges on too, because again, look at this move from last week when we held the 21-day and took back the 8-day. You had 5 big up days through all-time highs. So I would say as long as we hold 615, which we're at 1667, it's hard to get too bearish. Hard to get too bearish, and I would think that it's a very methodical grind like we've had. If we break 615, then maybe, they shake things up a little bit, and then you get a retest of this, prior high of 613, or maybe even the 8-day. So today we'll see how it goes. Q's very similar also. Q's had a big move, 552. Same scenario here last Monday, which is over 6 business days ago, is where the market, or this sequence got re-energized. What do I mean like that? Well, right here was the same thing. This is when you had your low, your higher low. A lot of people like, it's over. But guess what happened? We held the 8-21 day and we got refueled. So anyway, now we'll see what goes on here. 549 is yesterday's low. Do we have a doji little top here where they take out the low and surprise all the bulls? Who knows? I don't think so. And even if they do, you have the 8-day down there. Still not the biggest deal. Kenneth Rosenberg is saying, Tesla timber. Well, I'll tell you, there's no reason to be in Tesla stock. If you remember, a week ago Monday, it ignited, and you were in options and stock, and it was friggin' a powerful, awesome move. And then what happened the day after was like, why is it a little weak? And then the day after, most strategic, risk-averse active traders got stopped out. Where was that? That was right here. Remember this trade? This looked great. I bought some options. This was Friday. Had the stock and went awesome. Sold a bunch into it. Had a third left. On this side, I was like, let me get out of a little bit just in case. And then got stopped out at 340, 335 right here. And now it's below all the moving averages. I have a small amount of calls on just as a lotto play, just because sometimes Tesla does that. But you're not sitting in these shares as an active trader if you follow my 21-day rule. You only want to be in things that are special unless you have, some options where risk is premium paid. But ultimately, the market closed well and Tesla closed on the lows. What does that tell you to be long Tesla as an active trader? No. So there's no reason to be in Tesla as an active trader. And if you are, you know what? You're suffering. You're suffering from opinionitis. But anyway, 303 is right there. It's below 310. It's right into here. Tesla's just been a battleground. I say all the time, when Tesla's good, it's great because it trades with momentum. It trades with a lot of speed, and you could be long and make a lot of money. And when it's bad, you better be the hell out of the way. And right here really broke. Last time it was really special was right here, and it actually led the way all the way up to this 367. Here, there was a chance, right? Double bottom. Was really tight and then rolled over again. And I don't even know what Elon's going to do, to be honest. Most people around the world kind of hate him because of the U.S., and the way he dealt with people, so they don't want to buy it. And then now he's fighting with Trump, and he's getting no support from the government. So all the things he tried to do was just thrown out the window, and his brand suffered somewhat. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to move on. So what am I in? That was a setup that changes. Hey, guess. I wasn't in Apple for so long, and then finally I'm like, hey guys, Apple's really, really tight on Friday. I was buying the 205 calls, and then yesterday got long the stock because it showed performance. It had some volume. There's some talk about new AI features and this and that, and went with it and had a nice move. Armour said he caught the move too. Congratulations. What's it doing this morning? The futures are under a little pressure. It's up 47 cents. Better than down $13 because this perked up yesterday. This showed relative strength. This got above some moving averages. So that gave you a reason to be in the stock. If you want to be a trader and get paid for a living, you need reasons to be in stocks. You could also have a reason that was there, and then you have it on as a swing, and then you're left with a third, or sometimes your reason changes and you get out. But we'll see. All I know is, maybe this wants to get above 207 and could see 215. And that would all that would be is just still in this channel and not even a real move. But anyway, good stuff there. If you remember last week, we caught a move in Amazon and Google. I did sell some yesterday. Both of them were green. Google yesterday was trading 181, and I was selling at pre-market. I'm like, guys, I just caught this from 170 to 181. I'm selling some. So if you sold some, which you should have, if you bought the bottom end of the trend line and said, hey, look at this resistance right here, it's not rocket science. You got out. Now maybe you could buy some back. Where's Google right now? Google is down a whole 30 cents. So I will be buying some Google back, probably a little bit closer. Maybe, what was yesterday's low? Yesterday's low is 174.58. It would be nice if that holds. That's how you use a tier system, right? If you use a tier system, you could book some and go back to some. Right? This is 174. So if you were buying here and added when it went through 172, you could have been selling pre-market in the 180, 181s. And now, you could say, hey, if like right now, what I'm thinking is if this is any good, it really should not get below 172-ish. That would show some commitment to this move, maybe be in the upper quadrant and then even continue to 188-ish. So I got to think about it in my head. Where am I? What am I down on this morning? Somebody just asked. I'm down on a little IBIT. IBIT is tight. I'm in some. We'll see how it goes. I kind of am thinking that, we it's tight. We could have a little bit of a July 4th crypto weekend, but at this point, it's not participating today. Maybe it gets a little bit better. It's got a nice little wedge formation here. If this were just say to break this little inside range to the downside, I would have to take some size off, which is fine. What's my focus? Ethereum thoughts. I bought a little Ethereum yesterday, and Ethereum to me is a pain in the ass. Everyone wants to be long Ethereum. Everybody wants to catch up play, but it's not easy. What's this low here? This is 2018. I'm hoping it holds 2018. I bought a little bit yesterday, and I'll probably add a little bit more. I think it's a decent idea. I feel like these institutions need more vehicles than just Bitcoin, and they shouldn't go anywhere else. They should not buy one altcoin. 90% of altcoins are going to be zeros. Did I say that? Or they lose 90% every now and then. But anyway, this is 2018. So I would think that, Ethereum's going to hold that spot. But if it doesn't, what does Red Dog do? Get out. If the trade changes or the reason you're in a trade changes, you get out and then you revisit, So, and then you could do that as traders. Anyway, so what I thought made sense? I was just talking to my man Conrad. You listen to the interview. I don't listen to Kramer. I don't watch, but I see some blurbs. And my buddy from Wall Street Engine posted one of his things. Okay, by the way, this is Redler. Where's Redler All Access? This is Red Dog Mindset. You could subscribe if you want. It's only $10, by the way. And just so you know, in September, the 630 Club might be leaving Twitter. So if you want to be locked in to what I've been doing for free for over 5 years, you should subscribe to it. But anyway, that's not why I'm going here. I want to show you this, what I read. Okay, Wall Street Engine is right here. So right here, I thought it was interesting when I was going through it because I like some of these names. They've been trading well. So here it is. This is what Jassy said. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said, we're working on drones that can deliver items in under an hour, maybe as fast as 30 minutes. He also thinks robots will become common in homes. So if you're looking for things and trends for the future, which we should be, not just Apple or things that we've played before, this and that, you want to look kind of ahead. So I thought that was interesting because I know there's a bunch of drone stocks out there, and I want to be able to stick with things that might have longer term moves. So I kind of, I've been trading this ACHR, ACHR aviation. They did a money raise right here, so I started accumulating it again, and I think that over time it's going to take this out. So I'm like, that's something in that arena. I'm like UMAC, which is I think Don Jr. stock, also, kind of in the drone area. And then I'm like, I got to find other drone stocks. Yeah, Joby's been really strong. JOBY, that's leader. It's a leadership status. So, and then there's one of them that my friend really likes, which isn't quite drones, RDW. He thinks this thing is going to be, like a $50 stock. So anyway, I remember being in it right here, wrong place, wrong time. It looked awesome. And then they did a money raise. But now once you go a few weeks through the money raise and all those freebies are done and they worked through it, they're, these investment bankers that did the money raise were sold a story of probably higher prices. But anyway, RCAT, let me see what that looks like. RCAT. Yeah. So, you just have to get a group of them together and then see which one becomes the leader, which one goes with it. Same way, remember, with the nuclear reactor trades. I found Oklo, by the way, back here where nobody found Oklo. I remember some people were talking about all these options and all these, sweepers and somebody gave me the whole nuclear thesis, and I kind of had a nuclear thesis about it being clean, not like coal and this and that. And then all of a sudden, right here, this is when I traded in October 14, 2024. And I remember this move, everyone's saying, oh, they're never going to have earnings. They're never going to have anything for a bunch of years. Then all of a sudden it rebuilt and went again. So P.S., there are some sectors that are futuristic that if you get in there early and you get good at it, you can make a lot of money. So for right now, I'm just, as I have this up, it's been correcting a little bit from this red dog reversal here. See if that holds. Same way with, to be honest, with Dash. Like, I didn't know DoorDash few of my friends from a bunch of institutions said, you better watch DoorDash, Red Dog. Bring your community involved on it because this dash is better than people think. And that was here. That was a year ago. I remember a year ago they brought this to me, and that was the bottom. Remember August 5th bottom, and then all of a sudden it came out with earnings, and they couldn't suffocate it. And it took me probably to about. It took me, you could see, to about. Sometimes it takes you a little time to get comfortable. It took me to this 144 area actually, where finally I was like a believer. I'm like, oh my God, look at this cup and handle pattern. This came public in 2021. Nothing came public in 2021. So this is a great company. And then my son's on DoorDash. Everyone's got DoorDash. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to really just buy options on every pullback, trade it through, price points, et cetera, et cetera. And that was right here. So I got to know it. I wound up making a lot of money. And I said here, I'm like, you know what? Why can't this get to 225, 257? And that's where it is now. So anyway, the earlier you get to know a name that becomes a leadership name, the more money you can get out of it. Like guys with Robinhood. Wow. I kind of screwed up Robinhood. I put it on the go-to list early also, but I wasn't really a believer, just because I don't use it and I didn't trade it right here when it started with strong leadership at 51.30. I'm like, guys, Robinhood went from the C list to the A list. I'm going to chart it for you. It's above the 8-day, not even the 21-day. And look at this move. I think part of the reason why I didn't trade it is because I'm one of the biggest, big investor in public.com that's not out, and I have so many shares. I'm so upset about it. I'm hoping that Robinhood does phenomenal, so public comes public, and I could friggin' go to Sizzler. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Yes, ASTS I think is going to be. I started nibbling back again. It got through the 8-day. I think the 21-day comes up to here. If this gets to 43-ish, that's when I'm going to probably go out and start buying some $55 or $60 calls for like 2 months out just to have it, and I'm going to trade it. So yes, I remember this whole channel that everyone was beating the hell out of me, especially when it didn't work here, but then woo, look how it worked. So anyway, 43-ish would be a spot I start buying options. I did nibble a little bit in the stock just to kind of be on track with it. So Philip Stone says, do I have a focused potential trade for today? I don't have anything that's standing out because we just had a 5-day move. What I want to do is I want to see is how do we hold today? Do profit takers come in because they could book their trades, because they made good money in it and they want to settle back for the summer? Do new flows come in, for the new month and the new quarter? Do we hold here 615-ish, and then continue to the upside, or they want to shake the tree down to 609-ish? I do have a lot of things going on here. Like if you look here, this is the virtual trading floor. So I have a bunch of things going on, but I've been in them. Some of I've been in them for months, some for weeks, some from yesterday. So I'm just kind of managing it. I'm short some SPYs as a hedge, and then I have a bunch of things I've been accumulating since they did their money raises. Apple, first time I'm in Apple since it's been a while. Amazon I've been in since last week, but I'm smaller. Google I've been in since last week, but I'm smaller. NBIS, it's a focus. I've been on that for a few weeks. It got above 55-ish. RDW, I'm accumulating. These two things I got in a little sooner, and it's kind of annoying, but we'll see. Hopefully they hold in there. Bull, I got back in Bull, BULL. With Robinhood going so nuts, I figured, hey, I played this a bunch of times. Maybe it's finally ready. Look at this candlestick here. I'm probably not going to add to it, but I'm going to try and stick with it. I have some options. Yeah, NBIS. I'd like to see it get above this 55 and really go. So there are some people that love this and think it's going to be $100 stock in the next year. So if it's going to be $100 stock, it's got to get above and stay above 55. I also have Reddit on. Reddit was a good trade yesterday. I started buying options in it on Friday. It had a nice move. I sold some of the 150s I had on the pullback. I bought 155s. If you can get above 154, maybe there's room. So I got a lot of things going on in my head, which is why I'm up at 445, which is why I want to be ready for when things move. That's the one thing I'm going to say. If you're not prepared, you're not going to be able to execute with confidence. You don't have your mind right, you're not thinking straight, you're not going to execute with confidence. If you don't love your routine and you don't do it every day, and like I'm listening to Bob Marley radio. I'm not listening to CNBC. I'm not listening to the guys who want to get on there and get some FaceTime, wherever the hell it is, who play traders on TV. I'm in the trenches with my guys from the Alpha team, and we do it every day. We make a living. You guys are tuning in at 6:30 in the morning because you're taking accountability. You're taking control of your life. You're trying to make a better life for yourself and your friends, or whatever it is. But anyway, at this point, I am here. I'm always in the seat. I've been in the seat for 30 years. Not this one, like in the city. I've been in a lot of seats. But what I would suggest is you find a routine that's not so serious, and you love it and you do it. And toast. Oh yeah, toast, Rod. It looks pretty good too. What did I do yesterday? Ooh, that looks really good actually. Look at this. I have this place called the Standard in Milburn, the Milburn Standard, where I go every now and then. I close the streets down during the pandemic, and I kept them in business a little bit. They created a sandwich after me called the Red Dog Sandwich. The Red Dog Sandwich, it's a good one. A lot of people order it. It's a special sometimes. But the moral of the story is every waitress and waiter I know there, they no longer take your order and go in. They have a toast. So they put it in, and then the server brings it out, and there's a little Red Dog button on it. But you have to ask for it to be double toasted, and I get celery instead of French fries. I posted that picture with Chase over the weekend. Hopefully you hung out with your family. Hopefully you're getting ready for a good holiday. I just fasted yesterday, my first fast since Memorial Day, because I know July 4th I'm going to be eating a little extra barbecue, a few extra beverages. So you want to borrow from a few days so you don't have guilt in the other days. It's just the way I live my life. You can live it however you want. If you're tuning in, that means hopefully you're getting some value, and I appreciate you. Good luck today, guys. Oh, hold on a sec. HJ Cal, dog, how do I get a private conversation with you? Let me know. If you're a friend of Glenn Heschler, you're a friend of mine. That's my best friend from growing up. Email me, scott@t3live.com, scott@t3live.com, scott@t the letter 3 the number live.com, and we'll hook up. And if anybody else wants to email me, you want to yell at me. If you want to say, things are good for you, I love to hear that too. All right, guys.